Hi, I'm attorney Mark Mandel with the law firm of Fausone, Bohn. I've been a partner here with the law firm for over 20 years, located in Northville, Michigan. I'm here today with Robert Pollock. Robert's one of our attorneys that specifically specializes in business, law, and real estate. And today I just wanted to ask you some questions about business.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here. So often I'll get a lot of phone calls about forming LLCs, all right?
Sure.
Or for that matter, I may get a lot of phone calls from clients that did not form an LLC and may find themselves in some problems.
Right.
So what's the importance as a small business owner of forming an LLC, and what are the most important things that come with that you want to prepare a client for that's about to open up a business?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. LLCs provide a lot of flexibility. That's one of the things that's really helpful with them. They provide limited liability, it's in the name, and really help a business owner sort of set up a good foundation for their business, especially with operating agreements. You can sort of head off a lot of issues that come down the line that you might not foresee. But when you have a good operating agreement, especially with multi-member LLCs, a good operating agreement can determine kind of the roles and responsibilities of those parties, and what they need to do or their obligations when it comes to different scenarios that come up with the business. So, so an LLC is definitely something that helps the business owner kind of limit his liability so that you're not personally getting sued. It's the company, if anything were to happen. And also, really, there's some tax advantages to it, pass-through taxation. And it really provides a lot of flexibility with low maintenance in terms of, papers, filing per year. It's very costly and cost-effective, and really helps them, organize their business well.
And then if you could enlighten me a little more about the importance of an operating agreement.
Yeah, sure. So an operating agreement is very important because, it sort of depends. I mean, with a single member LLC, not as important because it's really just you. But if you're looking to add somebody into the business, or you're looking to split different responsibilities with the business, like let's say someone's putting up money, another person is putting up labor, another person has property that they want to contribute, how that all gets determined in terms of what's your interest in the business, what happens when the business dissolves, those types of things all get determined through the operating agreement. So it's really helpful to have a solid foundation, and that's really how you do it.
And often you hear the term articles of incorporation. Where does that fit into the operating agreement, or for that matter, the LLC?
Yeah, so with LLCs, the articles are called the Articles of Organization. Those are the document that you file with LARA, which is the License and Regulatory Agency. And through Michigan, you have to file Articles of Organization to form an LLC. And usually it just says it can be as basic as you want, but a lot of times it will say who are the members, what are their interests, and kind of some kind of boilerplate language. So the real meat of the issue are going to be fleshed out in the operating agreement itself, but the Articles of Organization are one of the necessary pieces for forming. Yeah.
And from your perspective on those types of issues, I often would see people what I call writing business deals on napkins, as opposed to setting up the LLC, the operating agreement, and everything else that comes with it.
Yeah.
From your perspective and your experience, is it more important to hire a lawyer, dot your I's, cross your T's, and get all of that in place, versus writing it out on a napkin,
right,
and then hashing it out later? And I assume you see that often.
Oh, we see that all the time, and yeah, it's when clients, think that they have a good business relationship with somebody, and sometimes, it's someone that they've been dealing with for 10 years or more, and so they think, well, I can just write it out on a napkin. I can just, kind of wing it, right? And it's never good to do that because, it's a common thing. A lot of times, even if you have a great business relationship with people, it can go sour, and people don't foresee that when they first started up. And a lot of times you don't want to think about that, right? Because you're starting a new business, you're really excited, you got your business partner, you have maybe multiple business partners. You're not thinking down the road when things go wrong or something happens, but that's why you need a lawyer there to look at your agreements, to actually look at those issues and sort of foresee down the line, hey, what happens when this happens? This contingency happens. How do you want this handled, right? And how do you want this voted on? Those types of things. So it really helps even to have just a third party there, and that lawyer kind of serves as that third party, kind of that objective person that can look at those situations and help you.
Okay, so I assume like the old expression of being a penny wise and a pound foolish sort of comes into play if you're a business owner and you're not using a lawyer. Is that correct?
Definitely.
So I get it. We're both lawyers, but you'd highly recommend using a lawyer in the beginning to set up a business.
Yeah. It's really, we see businesses, want to be very frugal, and that's great, but you really can't cut corners when it comes to legal costs up front. You got to spend that, that couple thousand, few thousand that you need to spend up front to prevent you from maybe incurring, tens, $20,000, $30,000 later. And we see that a lot with businesses that, especially with contracts, when they don't want to set up a contract early and deal with the lawyer early, and down the line, they don't have those provisions that will protect them. So yeah, it's really helpful to have that help up front.
Yeah, well, that's great. What I've been most impressed with you, Robert, is your access and the ability to get a hold of you. So you're basically 24/7 open, and if somebody's got a question, they could reach out to you through an email, and they're going to get a quick response.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to talk with you today.
I appreciate it.